The side-by-side lot isn't a dozen honest choices competing for your money. It's a warehouse where somebody is losing real money every single day. Certain machines sit there, and the entire game is whether you can spot which ones before the salesman steers you onto something fresh. By the end of this video, you'll know which units on that lot are bleeding the dealer right now, what that bleeding costs him every month, and the 3 questions that pull 15 to 25% off the sticker without you ever raising your voice. One thing first, then I'm done with it for good. Walk onto that lot without the dealer scripts and you will pay for it. In the $2,000 you leave sitting on the hood. And again in the finance office at hour 3 when you're tired and you just want to go home. The buyer's vault has those scripts, word for word, plus the carrying cost math you're about to hear. $29.99 once at ironandacreage.com, first link below. $30 against a $20,000 mistake. Now the lot. Here's the number that matters, and it's the whole video in one sentence. A dealer with a non-current side-by-side on his floor is paying somewhere between $120 and $167 a month in cash just to keep that machine sitting where it sits. He hasn't touched it. He hasn't washed it. It's costing him $140 a month to own a thing you might buy. And when the 2027 models start landing this fall, that machine goes from slow to dead weight overnight, which is exactly why the leftovers get slashed in September and October, and exactly why the guy who walks in knowing this pays thousands less than the guy who walks in on a Saturday because he had the afternoon free. So let's do the arithmetic out loud, because this is the single most useful thing you will hear today. Dealers don't buy their inventory with cash. They buy it with something called floor plan financing, which is a revolving line of credit from an outfit like North Point Commercial Finance or Wells Fargo Commercial Distribution Finance, or from the manufacturer's own captive lender. The machine shows up. The lender pays the factory. The dealer owes the lender, with interest, until somebody buys it. Now, nobody publishes those rates, because dealers would rather you not know them. But RideNow Group, the biggest power sports retailer in the country, is publicly traded, which means they have to tell the government. And in their annual filing covering 2025, they disclosed that their new vehicle floor plan rates ran between 6.5% and 16.6%. Prime rate sat at 6.75% this summer. So a normal dealer on a normal unit is paying right around 8%. 8% on a $20,000 machine is $1,600 a year. Divide by 12. $133 a month. $4.38 every single day, including Sundays, including the day it rains and nobody comes in. Stretch that to a $25,000 cab unit and you're at $167 a month. A year on the floor, and that dealer has burned $2,000 of pure interest on one machine. But interest is the friendly part. The part that actually makes dealers sweat is curtailment. Floor plan terms typically give a dealer 90 to 180 days of subsidized or interest-free floating, courtesy of the factory. When that window closes, the dealer starts paying down principal on a schedule, usually around 10% of the original advance, whether the machine sold or not. Push past 6 months and the terms get worse, not better. That's real cash leaving the checking account for a unit generating zero. And you can watch it happen in public. RideNow's floor plan interest expense dropped to $8.5 million over the first 9 months of 2025, down from $12.7 million, and it dropped for one reason. They cut inventory. Their new unit sales fell 9.4% to 38,459 machines, and revenue fell to $1.08 billion. They sold fewer units on purpose because carrying them hurt worse than discounting them. Hold on to that sentence. Carrying them hurt worse than discounting them. That is your entire leverage, and we're going to use it in about 6 minutes. Now, before you go marching onto the nearest lot expecting a fire sale on everything, there's a wrinkle, and it's the part most videos about this get flat wrong. The 2 biggest players already cleaned up their mess. Burp, the Can-Am people, went first. In the fiscal year that ended in January of 2025, they cut North American network inventory 13%, and 18% if you set snowmobiles aside. Their off-road inventory was down 22% by that Q3, which they said hit their target a full quarter early. Their CEO, Jose Boisioli, has been fairly blunt that Burp was the first manufacturer to cut production on purpose, and they were loud about who didn't. Burp's own release blamed part of their off-road share loss on, and I'm quoting the filing, high non-current inventory from other OEMs. Translation: our competitors were dumping old stock at prices we wouldn't match. Polaris was saying the same thing from the other direction. Their CEO Mike Speetzen, on the Q1 2025 call, described share pressure from, quoting again, elevated promotions from some of the Japanese OEMs that continue to lag Polaris. By that summer, Polaris had cut dealer inventory 17% year over year. By their Q2 2026 call, this past July, dealer inventory was down another 8% in units. They'd posted 5 straight quarters of off-road share gains. And Speetzen said the quiet part into a microphone full of Wall Street analysts. He said they still have, quote, a couple of competitors that continue to have elevated inventory levels. So what does that actually mean for you, standing in a gravel parking lot in October? It means the glut is no longer evenly spread. It's concentrated, and it's sitting in 3 specific places. Place 1. Individual dealers with leftover 2024 and 2025 units. A manufacturer can say the network is healthy on average and still have a dealer 40 minutes from your house sitting on a machine from 2 model years ago. Averages don't pay floor plan. That dealer does. Place 2. The Japanese brands and the value tier, which is the group both Polaris and Burp have been publicly pointing at for 2 years running. Place 3, and this is the interesting one. Recreational and seasonal units. Polaris has been openly running lean on utility machines because farm and ranch demand held up and heavier on the sports side. So the leftover you find is more likely a sport unit than a work unit, which matters a great deal for what you should actually buy. Now, which specific machines? The domestic soft spot is the middle trim, not the base model, because base models are cheap enough to move on price alone. Not the loaded one, because the guy who wants heat and air conditioning has already decided. It's the middle. A 2026 Ranger XP 1000 premium stickers at $21,499. The crew version, $23,499. Expensive enough to make a buyer hesitate. Plain enough that nobody's dreaming about it. I found a California dealer this month advertising that exact premium at $17,999 before freight. $1,500 of that was factory rebate, $2,000 was dealer discount. That's 16% off before anybody even started negotiating. Then there's the thing squeezing the entire bottom of the market, and it wears a badge most of you didn't know existed 5 years ago. CFMOTO is now the number 3 off-road vehicle provider in the United States, with more than 700 dealers. Their North American sales grew 48% in 2025. And they are not competing on price the way the cheap imports used to compete on price, by giving you less. They're competing by giving you more for less. A U-Force 1000 sits around $13,999. The U10 Pro starts at $17,499. And their big 6-seat U10 XL Pro Highland with a climate-controlled cab and an inline 3-cylinder runs $24,000 to $27,500 against loaded domestic cab machines that ask $9,000 to $10,000 more. That is what's actually pinning the value tier to the floor. Kawasaki felt it. Their 2027 Mule 4000 and 410 came back carrying 2026's reduced pricing, with the 2-wheel drive Mule 4000 at $10,199. The 2027 Ridgeline, revealed the first week of August, spans $21,599 to $39,999, and it's landing right now, which makes every leftover 2026 Ridge and Mule on a lot the definition of a non-current unit with a very short shelf life. And if you think that's rough, the compact tractor lot is running the identical play with a straighter face. That video's on the channel. So here's what's actually on paper as I record this, in August of 2026. Polaris is running a factory authorized clearance through September 30th. It covers unregistered 2024, 2025, and 2026 units. Dealer published ceilings this month, up to $1,500 off Sportsman, $2,500 off a Ranger Northstar, $3,000 off RZR, $4,000 off a General, $2,000 off an Expedition Northstar. There's also promotional financing at 1.99 to 3.99% for 36 months in place of the rebate. And there's one almost nobody asks for. Polaris runs an agriculture and business fleet program worth up to $1,750 a unit on Rangers, Sportsmen, Generals, and RZRs. If you farm, if you have a registered business, if you run cattle, ask for it by name. Most salespeople will not volunteer it. Can-Am dealers have been advertising up to $4,000 or 0% for 60 months on select 2025 Defenders. Their tiered Defender cash has been running $3,500 on the HD9 cab, $2,500 on the HD10, $1,500 on a base Defender. Check the dates on all of that before you quote it, because these programs roll monthly. But every number I just read you is the consumer rebate. That's the advertised floor. And it's the number the dealer wants you anchored to. Underneath it sits dealer cash, volume bonuses, and floor plan credits that you will never see on a window sticker. That money is real, it's already been paid, and it is available to be spent on making a sale happen. Which brings us to the 3 questions. Question 1. When did this unit arrive on your lot? Not the model year. The arrival date. The 10th character of the VIN gives you the model year, and there's a build date sticker on the frame. But the number you want is the in-stock date, and a straight dealer will tell you. 6 months on the floor means he's past his free flooring window and into curtailment. 12 months means it has been quietly costing him $1,700 in interest alone while he pretended it was a fresh unit. Question 2, and you deliver this one gently, because it works better when it isn't a threat. Something like, this one's been here since last spring, so it's costing you about $130 a month to keep, plus curtailment. What does it take to stop that today? You've just told him you know how his business works. In my experience, that single sentence changes the tone of a negotiation more than any amount of arguing about price. Question 3. Give me the out-the-door number. Not off MSRP. Out the door. Because this is where it all gets clawed back. Freight and setup on a Ranger runs $1,100 or better. Dock fees. Then the finance office, which is where the real money is made. Power sports stores make the majority of their gross profit in parts, service, and finance. New unit gross is a thin slice, which is genuinely good news for you, because a dealer will trade away that thin slice fast to stop the bleeding, and then try to earn it back on a warranty product you didn't need. Now, is 15 to 25% honest on a genuinely non-current unit that's been sitting? Yes. That California Ranger was already at 16% advertised. On a leftover sport machine as the 2027s land, 25 is reachable. On a fresh current year utility unit that everyone wants? No, don't embarrass yourself. Single digits, plus whatever fleet program you qualify for, and be happy. Which leaves the last question, and it's the one that separates a deal from a very cheap mistake. Cheap does not mean good. It means unwanted. Sometimes those are the same thing, and sometimes they are absolutely not. Here's the receipt. On December 5th of 2024, the Consumer Product Safety Commission announced a recall of roughly 21,000 model year 2024 and 2025 RZR XP and XP4 machines over a battery terminal cover that could cause a fire. Then in October of 2025, model year 2025 and 2026 Ranger XP 1000 Northstar and Crew Northstar units were recalled over an alternator cable, also a fire hazard. And going back, the 2013 through 2016 RZR fire recalls covered about 133,000 machines with over 150 fires and 1 death. I'm not telling you not to buy a Ranger. I own the opinion that a Ranger is a capable machine, and I said so in the original UTV Buyer's Guide. I'm telling you that a discounted Ranger requires you to run that VIN through the recall lookup before you sign, and to budget for belts and for ride command electronics acting up, exactly the way I laid out in video number 4 when we ranked these things on reliability. So, the verdict. The safest discounted buys on any lot right now are Honda, Yamaha, and Kawasaki, and the reason is mechanical, not brand loyalty. A Honda Pioneer uses a dual-clutch transmission with no drive belt to cook. Yamaha's Ultramatic runs a wet clutch with a 10-year belt warranty behind it. Kawasaki builds the Mule in Nebraska and backs it 3 years. Those 3 sit at the top of video number 4 for the same reasons they're safe buys today. A discount on those is a discount. Full stop. Can-Am Defender is the buy when the $4,000 cash or the 0% for 60 months is live. Strong machine, fewer recalls than Polaris, and you're watching the drive belt like you would on any CVT. Polaris Ranger is a buy with your eyes open. Best dealer network in rural America. Most capable middle trim, most recall history. Clean recall check. Or walk. CFMOTO is the honest split decision on this list, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. If you live 20 minutes from a good CFMOTO dealer with a parts guy who answers the phone, the U-Force is the most machine per dollar in the country, and it isn't close. If you're 2 hours out on gravel and a broken half shaft means a 3-week wait for a part nobody can cross-reference, that $13,000 sticker gets expensive in a hurry. The machine isn't the risk, the map is. One more thing worth knowing before you decide to wait. Polaris expects around $215 million in tariff costs this year and is moving supply out of China. Burp pulled its guidance over tariff uncertainty. If those costs land again in 2027, prices go up, not down. The discounted leftover in front of you is priced in yesterday's dollars. More buyer's guides like this every week. The compact tractor version of this same dealer lot problem is already in production. Subscribe so it finds you. And if this one saved you money, the UTV reliability rankings will save you more, because knowing what to pay is worth nothing if you buy the wrong machine at a great price. It's on screen now. Go watch that one before you go shopping.